Alright, so we are going to make a lamp again. We have our starting setup over here. We are going to go create sketch, and I'm going to do it from the top view this time. My sketch, I'm going to start by picking some lengths that make sense to me. I am going to make my thing, how much do I want? Where's the ruler? That is about, so I want 1500 divided by 2, so it's going to be, let's say 20. So it's going to be 100 wide, yeah, 100 wide, and then this over here is going to come out, let's say I make this, 20 centimeters is a lot for a lamp, but sure, why not? 20 centimeters over here, and then I want it to come out at 45-degree angle, so tab, 45, length, cool. I'm going to make sure I snap the glue first one like that. That help? Say I want, no, let's not do that. Instead, let's get this line over here, get onto there, and then I want to modify, I want to make a angled tooth. I don't want to chamfer it, I want it to be a straight edge, and to make this straight edge I will make a line, and I want this line to be 45 degrees, and I want to touch here, so that line is at 45 degrees, and I'm going to make a sketch dimension. Sketch dimension, I'm going to press this dot and this dot over here, so now I have a sketch dimension. I can adjust where this line is based on this dimension. I believe if I type 45, ooh, it gets larger. So I can actually make this, let's say I want this to be 30. There we go, now that's looking nice. It doesn't take up heaps of desk space. This over here is half of my design, so I'm going to mirror it. So I'm going to go to mirror, I'll select this object, this object, this object, and this object, and the mirror line I want is, doesn't exist, so cancel. We have to make the line for it to mirror, so it's going to go from here to here. Now we go to mirror, and we'll say this, and this, and it's going to mirror over this line over here. Okay, and now I'm going to trim. We don't want this line, we don't want this line, we don't want this line, we don't want this line. That is the base of my lamp, and it looks kind of chunky. So I'm going to modify this drawing. If I... Oh, no, I don't want to trim that. My bad. Escape. I want to change this dimension over here to 75. That looks better. Yes. So that's the shape over here. That's the general shape we're doing. Finishing sketch. Let's extrude this. Now, let's say I know in the workshop that all our pieces of material are 20 millimeters thick. So let's just get our object over here. We have this plane and this plane. We're just going to make it 20 millimeters. So we know that's the standard size of stuff we have in the workshop. So it makes our life easier. Next, I want the middle section. I am going to go sketch over here. This profile, what's my general sketch, is this shape over here. So I just want an easy shape for this one. I want to go up to here, this height, and do a shape down there, and close it off. And then I will sketch dimension. I want this height to matter, and I want this angle to matter. So let's say I want this angle, I really want it to be at 60 degrees. And I want this height to be at 100. Cool. And now that part is done. This over here is in the middle. It's in the middle of our design. So I can go and extrude this now. I'm going to click this. Now, if I extrude, it's just going to extrude one side of the object. So instead, I want it to be two sides. It's going to be 10 millimeters by both sides, so that's a 20 millimeter thick piece. I also want to make this a new piece, so a new body. Enter. So now we have, if we look over on our tree, we have two bodies. That's one body, and that's another body. And if you're looking at the recording, the trees don't show up. Right, so now that we have our two shapes over here, we're going to make a right-angled support that we can use to drill, because we want, let's say we want a really industrial-looking design. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the model on one side to save us time, and then we will copy it over to the other side. So we want it to be over here. So what we're going to do is, I think I'm going to press sketch. I want to sketch over this plane over here. And so the object we have is going to run up against these two walls. If I go to design the sketch, see right now it's attaching, but I believe it's attaching to the grid, not the actual object we have there, not the bodies. So we want it to attach to the bodies because we're lucky that I designed it in a very even geometrical fashion, but you might have a curve or an angled line or something exotic and off the grid. So you want to actually have our line manufacture, our line creation, know that there's an object there that it wants to attach to. So what we're going to do is we're going to press under this create tab, we're going to say project and include, and we're going to press the project button. What this does is it uses the shapes that exist that we see right now and use it in our sketch. So if I want to project, we want to use this face over here and we want this face over here. We want these two things to be used in our drawing. Your design may vary. And we press OK, and what do we notice? We now have, if I hide our bodies, we now have purple lines everywhere. These purple lines are different to the blue lines in that they're a different color, but purple means this is a line that is used in our current sketch that is produced by something else. Something is making this line, you didn't make it yourself. In this case, those lines come from the body, the frame that we just made on our design, and I just hit it so we can see it. Now, the shape I want is, I'll just get a rough shape over here. We want this, we want this. That's the shape I want. This is the side of like a right angle piece of metal or aluminium. And I just guessed all the lengths because now I'm going to actually manufacture. Let's say I want it to be 2 millimeters. Yep. I want this length over here to be 2 millimeters. I want this length over here to be 15. Again, I'm just making up these numbers to what looks right. If you go and buy one from a store, you can measure the exact lengths of it and you can get those pieces in there. And that's all I want for now. Before I finish the sketch, I'm going to unhide the body and then I'll press finish sketch. And now if we look in the 3D, we'll have this part over here. Now let's make this into a part. We're going to go extrude. We're going to click just that surface over there. And let's say this particular piece is, what looks about right? 10? Yeah, 10 looks about right. We're going to make it 10, and again, we're going to make it a new body. So that's the shape we have there. Let's hide the other shapes. That's the shape of the right angle piece that we have. Now, let's make we have our right angle piece, and notice how it's not in the right location. Right, we're going to move it later. We just want it to be in the drawing somewhere. We just wanted to line it up to our piece. Let's make the screw that goes in there, and we can use the screw to cut out this. So the screw over here, our screw is going to go through this object. So let's create project. So we want to exist in this object. So okay, so we have the projection there. We will then we want to pick a midpoint. So as I've attached to this now, as I hover my mouse over it, I see that triangle. That triangle means that's the midpoint. Click that midpoint, and let's go down. Let's say we have a small screw that's, how thick are we? We're 20, 20, 20. So let's say we have a screw that's 7.5 millimeters, right? A tiny screw, tiny. So that's 750. Oh, not 750, 7.5. 7.5 millimeters. Cool, we have this shape over here. Now let's draw what this screw will look like. Let's say this screw is going to go, this screw will have like a diagonal here. What angle is that? 135? 135. Then it has a length like this, and then the screw is going to come up to here, and then the screw is going to be countersunk at some point. So 135, and it's going to come up to the top of the object here. That's all we know. So we have a screw there, and let's just say we care about this length over here. Our screw will be 2 millimeters thick. So this is did that work? Hopefully. So now we have all these lovely shapes. We are going to finish our sketch. If we get that 2D shape over there, we are going to revolve. So create, revolve. We're going to press this sketch we just made. Where are you? Let's just hide our body so we can see it. We're going to press these sketches that we made there. The axis we're going to say is this axis over here. And, hello. Right now it's going to cut out of our, it wants to cut out of our piece that we just made, which we don't want that. We want to make a new body. And then as we make that new body, we want a full revolution. We press OK. Let's have a look at that. There we go. We basically have our screw. Right? It's chunky, but it's our screw. Now that we have this screw, we will, we want to now get this screw to drill a hole inside here. So we are going to move this body, move it. We want this body to be, actually, so now we're going to, sorry, before we do anything with this now, we want to start moving all our objects to where we want them for at least the first time before we copy them. So we're going to press the move and copy button. We're going to press, so as soon as everything looks insane when you press this button, it's trying to bond to an object, and notice how it has a coordinate system that follows it. It's trying to attach to an object, like a surface of the object, and it's going to move in that Cartesian plane, right? Those X, Y, and Z directions. So we just have this object over here. As you zoom in, see how it has like arrows and dot points everywhere? That's saying, it's trying to say, do you want to attach to here? So you can use that for your measurements for like how you move. I clicked somewhere, and now I can drag this, and let's say I want it to be, yeah, that looks about right. That's the location I want. And then I can press OK. That's the location over there. And we can do the same thing with our screw. We pressed our screw. We want our screw to be, yeah, over there. That looks fine. OK. So now we have, these are the locations of the piece of metal and the screw. So now we have these lovely shapes here. Let's cut some holes out. Actually, before I cut some holes out, I want to get another screw up here. So we're going to press the modify. We'll press the move and copy. We want to select this screw that we have here, and we want to make a copy this time. So copy, and this one we want to rotate it this way, 90 degrees. We want to bring it up. Let's just look at our alignment. Does that look right? No, it doesn't. So, is that like, ooh, no, a bit more. Yeah, that looks about right. And then we want it to go, oh no. Why isn't it going all the way in? Oh, you're right, yeah. There we go. Oh, yes. Nice. Enter. All right, so now, oh, well, I just pressed, yep, I made a copy, so now there's two of them there. So if I hide these bodies, we see now we have our two screws sticking out of our piece. And now, if I remove the screws, we see there's no holes here. So it's not a real piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to press the combine button. So now use combine. Usually it means putting things together, but combine means an operation performs a Boolean operation between two bodies. basically it involves cutting, joining, intersecting, all those things. So it just means use this geometry with this geometry. It's not actually means that you have to add them together. Sometimes you can subtract them. So we're going to combine. This is our target body, the right-angled piece of metal, and the tool bodies is what we want to affect that body. So we want to select this screw, and we want to cut. Right, so that's going to cut the holes in our piece of metal. Now, if we press OK, it's actually going to delete our 2 screws that we had. So we want to press Keep Tools. So it's going to keep our screws. And sometimes you can even make new components as well. Right, whatever. Could be useful. So now, if we hide our 2 screws, look at that. That looks pretty nice. Right, and we'll do the same thing with we can do the same things with this. Now, I believe with a combine, you can only select one body to be the master, the main piece. So do it one at a time. But the tools, you can select as many tools as you want. Again, we're going to cut and keep the tools. Nice, and we'll do the same thing over here. Combine, we want this, and we want to remove this piece over here. Cool. So now let's just test. If we hide all this, we have our screw holes. This is important for when you do your 3D drawing, when you do your rendering drawings, you can print this out and you can find exactly where to put your holes. Right? This is probably the most practically useful thing for your construction steps. Imagine if you're doing like a car, like you know how you had your motors and you had to line up your gears, you could find out exactly where to put your screw holes or where to line up your motors by doing a function like this. All right, so we have this over here, and then we want to copy this to the other side. Now, before we copy this, let's save us some energy and start to actually give these some colors. So this part over here, this body over here, we want to make this an appearance. Let's say we're going to make that aluminium once my appearance tab opens up. What do we have over here? Steel? No. We want... We want aluminium. Ooh, polished? Nah. Satin aluminium. There we go. All right, that's aluminium. Cool. And we want brass. We want our bolt. We want our things here to be made out of brass. Okay. And then, okay, so we've got that. We do have to make a slot at some point, but we'll just leave it slot. We'll just leave it as it is for now. We'll deal with the slot later. So now we have these bodies over here. We want to go to move or copy. We want to select multiple bodies. We want to select these 3 bodies. We want to make a copy. And we want to do the same thing we did last time, where now that we have the copy, you want to bring the copy over here. We want to rotate it in this direction to rotate around like this. 180. Get it nice and aligned this way. Get it nice and aligned this way. Oh, it's almost perfect, yes. Yeah, everything looks good, and press OK. So, as we did that copy, we don't have to drill the holes in this part again, but we do have to drill the holes in here. So we'll do that step again. We'll go to combine. It's over here. The tool we want to remove things by is this, and we want to keep our tools, yes. And we'll do the same thing over here. We want to remove this by this, and keep those tools. Cool. So I'm actually going to give these bodies a bit of a wood coloring. So we want this over here. Sorry, appearance. Wood. Yeah, it's going to be, we want 3D walnut. Okay, cool. Well, the reason why we made these 2 individual shapes is, see how the walnut over here has an end piece? This is where the grain is. And because we made these 2 individual pieces, because we made it two individual features, it looks more realistic, right? As in the grains should not be, the grains look different, right? That's why we made two individual pieces. So, and let's see how this looks in a rendering. So to render up this job that we currently have, we're going to go to over here in the top left-hand corner and go to renderer. We're going to, as you notice, in the rendering tab, you already get some more features like 3Dness and shadow. We can put a scene, because like, why not? Environment, oh, we have lights. Yeah. Where do we want this set up? As a snowfield? Snowfield doesn't sound good. Photo booth. Sure, why not? Let's say you're doing this, you're doing a dodgy trade deal in a car park. I think you can attach custom environments, so you can put like a desk or something to make that look good. So, or like a kitchen, and then you can just, do I have to add it in? Oh, current environment. So this thing is in here. All right, now let's go to, we don't want details, we don't want texture map controls, but we do want to render. So we're going to go render. Yeah, we'll save it. Save. Yep, this will be called lamp tut2. Save. And then let's go and render this. Cloud, please. Yes, all right, render. Let's see how good the processing power on this computer is. Local render. Size all seems fine. Press the render button. And I'm going to pause the video while it's rendering, so, you know, you don't have to wait. Right, so now that our render is done, we should be able to click this object over here, and now we'll see a very nice looking 3D image. Ooh. Look at that, that actually looks, look at that aluminium reflecting over there, that actually looks quite nice. But can we zoom in? No, well, it's not a image rendered, like, okay, fine, whatever. But you can see we have like some reflections, like this aluminium is clearly reflecting onto itself, and you can clearly see the detail difference from getting two different materials. So if your object is made out of different materials, sorry, if it's made out of different sheets of wood or whatever, actually model them as different pieces of wood. Same if you're laser cutting. Every sheet that you laser cut, you have to model it in here as a separate thing. And that's what we'll do next lesson. I'll show you how to get images for laser cutting out of this drawing.